Hello and welcome back to the We Are City channel, and today we're going to do the player ratings at the end of the season. We're going to give each player a rating out of 10, and today it's the goalkeepers and defenders, and tomorrow it will be the midfielders, the forwards, and of course the manager. Now I've given myself a bit of time to calm down after that Champions League final. We can't rate players purely on the Champions League final, we've got to rate them on the whole of the season, and that's what we will be doing in this episode. So first up is the goalkeepers, and it's Ederson, our starting goalkeeper, and I've given him a 9.1 out of 10 rating for the season. He hasn't really put a foot wrong this season. He probably could have been higher than 9.1, but there's times maybe where he's made mistakes, and to be, a 9.9 to someone who's been absolute perfection. City would have to win all 4 trophies. Ederson, hasn't won all 4 trophies at City, but he's been fantastic this season. His distribution, with his feet, really is an asset to the team. Makes us so better going forward. That ball he played over in that Champions League game against Paris Saint-Germain just shows the quality he has as a goalkeeper, and he's made some really clutch saves for us this season. So I think a 9.1 is a really fair result for Ederson. I think he's been really good, a really fair rating, and by far one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now. Next is Zack Steffen. He's been our number 2 this season, the American, in his debut season at Manchester City, and he actually had to play a lot of football, didn't he, near the start when Ederson did pick up COVID, and he performed well, didn't he? He had a few rocky moments, I suppose, the one where he picked up a back pass against Chelsea, which is a bit odd, and I feel that in the FA Cup semi-final, he did cost us slightly against Chelsea. The whole team played terribly, but he did go and, just his positioning was terrible, wasn't it? Really poor. I think an 8 is way above average. Average is about a 6.0 rating. We're giving him an 8.0. He's had a really good debut season. I think he's a perfect person to be a second backup choice at the club. Steps in when needed. He's decent with his feet, makes some really good saves, made some good saves in the Carabao Cup, and of course went all the way to the final with us in the Carabao Cup, winning the Carabao Cup. So I've been really impressed by him. An 8.0 rating for Zack Steffen. Next is Scott Carson. I have given him a 9.9. I know it could have been a 10 really out of 10. He did concede a few goals, didn't he, in that game against Newcastle. It weren't his fault, penalties and things, but he made some really good saves. And the Cumbrian Casillas, I think they call him, Scott Carson, had a good season for us. Had a good season. He's obviously someone that's very important in the dressing room. Maybe he's on for that Ballon d'Or. Quite possibly. Of course, this is all said in complete sarcasm, but he's obviously a good goalkeeper, good third choice goalkeeper. Stepped in when we wanted to play him because he deserved to play in the Premier League, and he's obviously really well liked in the dressing room. And I think his influence on the squad is more than you think. It's more than just on the field, isn't it? It's off the field where Scott Carson brings the experience and whatever he brings to the dressing room, that motivation, which is good to see. So a 9.9 rating for Scott Carson for this season. Next is Joao Cancelo. Fantastic fullback Cancelo. I'll give him an 8.9 rating. Could have probably gone higher. He just sort of dipped off towards the last 2 months, didn't he, of the season, the last 3 months. He seems to just get pulled out of the squad by Guardiola, lost his form, and he's one of those players that when he's playing, he just gets better and better and better, and he's scored some ridiculous goals, hasn't he? He's important goals, some really good assists, from left back, that one at the Puskás Arena in Budapest against Gladbach, fantastic from Cancelo, and he's proven why he's a starter at Manchester City. Him and Walker have got a great battle going on at right back, 2 different sort of players, and he's invented this new right back role, hasn't he, where he plays pretty much as a midfielder, and it's worked really well for him and his quality on the ball. So an 8.9 for Cancelo. If he was consistent throughout the season, I think Pep maybe took him out of the team and that ruined him a bit, but if he's consistent for the last 2 months of the season, that could have been easily been a 9.4, 9.5 rating for an amazing season from Joao Cancelo. So Joao Cancelo's competition, Kyle Walker on the other side. I've given Kyle Walker a 0.1 less rating than Cancelo. I think Cancelo was just so impressive this season. Walker was out of the team for so long, wasn't he? But he came in when it mattered, Kyle Walker. He came back into the team for those Champions League knockout games, and he performed. Barring maybe the final where he wasn't amazing, but the whole team was poor anyway. Kyle Walker was absolutely fantastic on that right hand side at fullback. An 8.8 rating. He continues to be sort of Mr. Consistent for Manchester City, doesn't he? I know he has a few moments of madness, some mistakes where you think, why has he done that? But he seems to perform so regularly for City, such a high level. I know he's not so good going forward, he's frustrating going forward, but he stops all them counter-attacks, and if we don't play Kyle Walker, City tend to get caught out in the counter-attack. So an 8.8 rating for very, very impressive Kyle Walker again this season. Next, it's the left backs, and it's Benjamin Mendy with a 4.6 rating out of 10. He did score 2 very important goals for Manchester City. That one against Leicester was massive, and he has had maybe 1 or 2 good performances out of how many performances has he had this season? Not many, has he? Because he's been, again, injured, out the team. Yes, he's clearly someone who's important in the dressing room, and yes, he scored 2 decent goals for us. But other than that, he's absolutely terrible. His legs are gone, his knees are gone, he can't cross a ball anymore, he can't run. He gets absolutely spun game in, game out because he hasn't got any pace anymore. It's a massive worry. City need to address the left-back situation this summer, don't they? And I hope they do address the left-back situation this summer. It can't go on any longer. But Benjamin Mendy, a 4.6 rating out of 10. I think you'll all agree with me on that one. He has been shocking again this season. So now Alexander Zinchenko are pretty much starting left back from now on, and he continues to surprise. He continues to impress, doesn't he, Zinchenko? Every time he plays, you think, you know what, I've got doubts about him, but he's performed time and time and time again. He made a mistake in the Champions League final, you'd say, for the goal, but I mean, I think John Stones at fault for that one being out of position. Zinchenko has been fantastic, and credit to him. He's had opportunities multiple times to leave the club. He's wanted to stay, he's wanted to fight for his place, and what is he, 3-time Premier League champion now, Alexander Zinchenko. He's fantastic, the Ukrainian. He deserves every bit of praise he gets, and I think a 9.0 rating from me, and I think you guys will agree on that one, just proves how good he has been this season for Manchester City, and he deserves it. He really does deserve it. Next is John Stones, a centre-back that City tried to get rid of this summer. They wanted him to go. John Stones said, no, I'm staying, I'm fighting for my place. He's been injured for so long, he's been having poor performances, and everything just seemed to click. He turned it all around, didn't he, this season? A 9.3 rating out of 10 for John Stones, and he's deserved. He scored massive goals in big games, more goals than he's conceded at one point, which is absolutely ridiculous how good he's been. He had a poor Champions League final like the whole team, and that's something that people might be judging players on and maybe, you know, lowering people's ratings because of that Champions League final, but we're judging the season as a whole, and as a whole, John Stones was by far, other than Ruben Dias, our best centre-back. They formed an amazing partnership, and we pretty much won the league based on a good defence, didn't we? A rock-solid defence, because forward line, we had no Sergio Aguero, we had no one who could score a goal, we had Kevin De Bruyne playing false 9 for a lot of the season, and John Stones kept it tight at the back with Ruben Dias. We didn't concede, maybe won games 1-0, 2-0, and that is how we won this season. That's how we won the Premier League, that's how we won the Carabao Cup, by being defensively solid, and John Stones with Ruben Dias was at the heart of that. And now the man I've just mentioned about John Stones, my player of the season, he gets the highest rating out of all the players, Ruben Dias, 9.6 rating. He's hardly put a foot wrong for Manchester City. He's saved us on countless occasions, and he's absolutely transformed our defence, hasn't he, this season? He's stepped in, and he's not, he's not blessed with pace, strength, height, on the ball ability, but he's obviously one of those players that's a hard worker, that puts everything into the game, everything into making sure his team wins. He's a leader at the back, he's a voice, he's loud, and just everything about him is absolutely fantastic. So a 9.6 rating for Ruben Dias. He has transformed Manchester City defensively. We're still, missing piece of the puzzle, I think, in this squad, but he was one piece that no one at the start of the season when he signed thought he would have the impact he had. And everyone was maybe a bit disheartened when it wasn't Koulibaly, it wasn't Jules Koundé that came in. Ruben Dias has been fantastic for us this season, and by far player of the season with a 9.6 out of 10 rating. And now it's Laporte, a 7.8 out of 10 rating, which I think is fair for him, and not quite an 8. I know he's not played much football this season, and if you told me last season that we wouldn't need Laporte in the squad, I wouldn't have believed you, because he was the man that City needed, isn't he? As soon as Laporte wasn't in the squad, we conceded goal after goal after goal, and he's been out the team this season. He's been injured. John Stone's been better than him. Dias has been miles better than him, even though we expected Dias and Laporte to form a partnership. Laporte has not been in the squad. He scored a massively important goal, didn't he, in the Carabao Cup final against Spurs, which mustn't be forgotten. And he's not had the worst performances when he's played for us, actually. I think he's been decent. He's been average. So a 7.8 for Laporte, and his rumours are he wants to leave after not playing this season. But what I think Laporte needs to understand is, similar to Stones 2 years before, if you have the right mentality, if you say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to get back in this squad and I'm going to play the best I possibly can, no way Laporte's not starting alongside Dias next season. I think he's a better player than John Stones, and I think he can get back in there. He's just got to work hard. It's whether Laporte is willing to do that, because at the moment it seems like he's not. But a 7.8 rating for Laporte for this season alone. So now Nathan Ake, and I've given him a 5, a 1 below average rating. He's been injured for about 5 months, hasn't he? Hardly played, and when he has played, let's be honest, he hasn't looked the best, has he? Maybe because when he has played, he's played alongside players that he maybe doesn't want to play alongside. You know, you think he's played alongside Eric Garcia and Mendy, and he's doing work for 3 men there, Nathan Ake. And maybe next season he can try and impress a bit more. But I've been really disappointed in him. I wasn't actually the most excited about him when he signed, to be honest with you. 41 million for a defender that had been relegated at Bournemouth, that hadn't had the best of records as a defender. No doubt he's a good backup, but we could see him leave this summer after a really poor season. It depends if Ake is willing to stay at Manchester City and fight for his place. But a 5 rating, I've been really disappointed with him. It could have been lower really. We'll give him a 5 because we give him the benefit of the doubt because of the injury for this season. And now to our final rating of Part 1. Part 2 will be coming tomorrow, and Part 2 will be the midfielders, the forwards and the manager ratings. We got the goalkeepers and defenders in this Part 1, and it's Eric Garcia has joined Barcelona now. We all expect that to happen. 2.5 out of 10. Just every time he plays, he's rubbish. I don't know what Barcelona's seeing him, to be honest with you. He's not quick, he's not good in the air, he's not, I don't think, reasonably good on the ball. He doesn't read the game well. Barcelona may be signing a massive dud there. They will have to pay Manchester City, I think, compensation because he is under 21. They've signed him at the end of his contract. So City will get some money for Eric Garcia. But he is very disappointing that City did even give him opportunities this season, purely because he's one of Pep's favourites. So that's why Eric Garcia did get game time this season. But a 2.5 out of 10, that's what he deserves for every time he put in a performance. So that's going to end Part 1 of our end of season player ratings. Like I said, tomorrow is when we see the midfielders, the forwards and the manager rating. So thank you very much for watching. Please do continue to like the video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, why not subscribe? It means a massive deal to us. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.